at work, things got to a point one day where I was nodding out in the machine, and I called my super over. I'm like, I can't be here anymore. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking end up killing somebody here. I gotta go home. I need a break. And my super knew my situation going on with my separation and everything else, and I was like, I need time. Let me go home, get myself together, and I'll be back. And I had weaned myself off alcohol many times before, but this time I couldn't do it. I took off and I went home to go deeper and deeper into it, drink more.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
You know,
Which is even dangerous.
and soon it's other things coming like mushrooms and MDMA, everything else that big pharma's trying to get their hands on, because people are going after holistic shit now. Nobody wants to be taking Prozac every fucking day. So now they're playing with all kinds of, hallucinogens and ketamine and all these different kinds of therapies that, the government's putting their hands on too.
The ketamine shots, the MDMA. MDMA, I hear, is going to be legal within the year for medicinal use.
Right.
And then I think it's within 5 years, psilocybin's going to be legal. Pretty soon, I know like somebody like Jesse Ventura is a big proponent of make all drugs legal. And he's got a point, and I get the point. The point is, an addict or somebody who's using those substances is going to find it anyway. Well, let's give them an avenue in order to find, if they're going to get it anyway, let's at least give them cleaner stuff, not laced with fentanyl or cut 7,000 times. I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know. Like, I don't really have an opinion on that, but I understand his
You're
point.
still going to have the illegal market, though.
Just like marijuana.
Yep.
The legal market is still there.
Yep.
You know, this whole thing, this legalization thing, it hasn't, because it's expensive, and the stuff on the streets cheaper. But you're gambling. You're gambling. Did that ever cross your mind when you were in your drugs, when you were doing these multiple types of drugs, that you're going to get something dirty?
I didn't give a fuck. I was actually like more excited about whatever it could be. I was not scared at all. I wanted whatever, crazy shit I could get into. And if we died, we died. That's how like me and my friends would roll, or my cousin. We'd be like, if we fucking die, then fuck it. Like,
See, and that's what's so crazy about today. You could get free Narcan
Yeah.
at a pharmacy.
Pharmacy, yeah.
And they have commercials on it. I heard a commercial the other day. It's like, I heard like Susie OD'd the other day, and someone gave her Narcan and saved her life. Like, what are we teaching these kids today? It's okay. It's okay to do cocaine and heroin as long as you have some Narcan on you.
Well, so there'll be a group of people that do heroin. I've just recently heard this. There'll be a group of people that do heroin. Say there's a group of 5 people. One person will sit out and hold the Narcan.
right.
So if anybody ODs, they shoot them with Narcan and bring them back to life.
Fucking world is crazy.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts. Oh, you always use a spotter.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Designated driver, designated Narcan.
So you move on. You're starting to progress.
Yeah.
What's the drinking like at this point?
It's like here and there. I drink at parties.
The taste start to get better?
Yeah. Taste started to get better. Right into like Jersey Shore days, prom, Memorial Day weekend, Labor Day, all that shit. And so I'm going down, and we're at Seaside, and the beer's tasting better. All the alcohol is starting to taste better.
And the girls are looking better.
The girls are looking better. All that kind of stuff's going on, and alcohol is starting to kind of make its way to the forefront of my the things I cope with.
You might be the first person I ever heard of that actually put drugs in the background, in the rear view, and then made alcohol. It was probably easier to get.
I also, my grandfather died from cirrhosis, so I mean, I don't know, they talk about genetics or however it might be, but when things started to work and click for me with alcohol, it was like I would drink and get more energy at that point. When I'd feel like a blast of fucking adrenaline when I would drink. So it started to kind of have this weird effect that when I was younger, it was like the opposite. I used to drink and become dizzy. Now I'm 17 drinking and I'm a madman. Full of fucking energy running down the boardwalk in Seaside,
Looking to fight garbage cans if I had to.
Yeah, fight garbage cans if I have to.
And what's your drink? Is it just beer, or is it anything you get your hands on?
Anything I get my hands on, anything we could have at the party. We'd rent houses back then, like 30 of us in one house. Keep the deposit because we're gonna fuck this place up, and nobody wants it back.
Yeah, you're not gonna be asked back to rent next year.
Yeah, we will not be back. We'll never
blacklisted on the rental market.
Yeah,
you just put that in the cost of doing business. But you're getting close to high school graduation. You got to figure out kind of what you're going to do for work. What's your plan at this point?
Try to go to college. Try to go to college. I graduated, started at community college, and my parents gave me like a cushion. They were like, if you want to take a break, they always gave me a home. So I kind of decided to take that break, and I'm like, I'll be back. I did school for a semester, and I said I'd come back, and I ended up just going to party, going to party more.
But how were you making money?
I wasn't.
Oh, they were funding your habit.
Nah, it was like a little stupid shit to kind of make money. Like at that time, buying ounces of weed, you'd be able to flip that, and it would be enough to make your money back on some things. Like little shit like that. Was enough to get by. And also from my mom giving me some money, she also helped me, gas money, things like that.
Wow.
Now, did she know everything that was going on with you?
She did.
All the drinking and the drugs?
She did. Yeah, it was something that, like, for the most part, at that age, I was doing it at home because it was more accepted. My mom was better off, like, hey, do it here. It's better than you going out there to the fucking clubs. I don't know if you're going to die and not come back. And that was her logic, Do it here, I can see you. You do it out there, I'm here praying for you with a rosary all night. So,
ultra Catholic, that's what to do.
It's not really like an enabler, though. If it's your mother, I mean, she's really just looking out for you.
Her intentions were good, but
there's a lot of parents who will give their kids drug money, especially heroin addicts. They'll give their kids money so they don't steal.
Yeah,
and they don't go to jail. They'd rather have their kids in their house than in jail.
Yeah. So, but you owe your mother an apology.
Oh, yeah. I'm a lifetime full of them, But also at that time, like we had a basement. I had a whole little studio set up. And a lot of times I'd have people over. They would bring things over. So it was like my house was the kind of party house. Right. And if I was having 5-10 people over, they were bringing drugs. They were bringing alcohol. They were bringing everything. My spot was kind of like...
your parents did that by design.
Yeah.
To keep you in the house.
To keep me in the house safe. They could watch and... you're going to do it here or you're going to do it out there. You might as well do it here. Do it here. And that was the way of thinking. Yeah.
So when did you start to notice it got out of control?
I had a cousin that passed away in 2006. That's when I went from drinking a lot to just fucking binge drinking. Like I became a full-blown alcoholic. I was drinking every day, non-coherent. Waking up, drinking for breakfast. That's kind of how I dealt with, losing him.
It's cool when it starts. And I've said this before on the show. I was watching an interview with George Carlin, and George Carlin's talking to Jon Stewart about drinking and drugs. And he goes, in the beginning, drugs and alcohol, 99% fun. By the time you end, it's like 1% fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny how that just seesaws like that.
When it becomes a problem, it's no longer fun.
It's no longer fun when you start needing it. And I don't like to be dependent on anything. And now you're dependent on alcohol. And how old are you about this time? Oh, so you're what, 22 in 2006?
Yeah, around that.
Yeah.
It took full control of me. Like I didn't want to think about the death, so I just wanted to be blacked out.
Numb yourself.
Yeah, I wanted to numb myself. And I did that for a good 6 months to a year. I was in this throwing up every day, blacking out phase every single fucking day. That's kind of where I was, just stuck.
Aren't your friends saying, "Hey, Mike, what are you doing, man?"
Nah, a lot of them would come by and just be scared of the situation, some would hang around, some wouldn't want to be around me anymore because I'd get drunk and start shit, a lot of them kind of hung around because I had the place. I had the open spot to hang around, but nobody was coming at me to hey, relax. I think you need to. And if they did, I'd probably tell them to go fuck themselves too and get the fuck out of my face.
You know, but that becomes almost like your identity. You know,
You're Mike the drinker.
That's it. Yeah,
Mike the drunk.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
they
expect it from you at some point.
They were expecting it. They'd come over and it maybe be like 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. And I have a bottle of vodka out, and it was expected. They were like, "Oh shit, Mike's already starting." It was expected.
Plus, you almost become the go-to guy. Hey, you want a couple drinks? Let's go to Mike's house.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Very well said.
You're still at this point. Are you still doing any drugs?
Yeah, I was doing whatever people would bring by. It was ecstasy, coke. The only thing I never did was heroin. I could never put a needle in myself. I didn't have the courage. That I couldn't get to. But everything else that was coming by, I was always down for.
And how long did this go on for?
Probably till about 24, 25. That went on.
And did you notice any type of physical problems from this binge drinking?
Yeah, I was throwing up bile sometimes. You know, I noticed this odd yellow shit that would come out of me. I'd throw up, and I told my mom about it. She was like, "Your liver's getting fucked up." And I'm like, "What, are you crazy? I'm in my 20s. I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here. This
Can't be me.
Can't be me.
Too
you
young
know?
for this.
I'm too young for this shit." And I always thought, I'm like, I didn't drink enough when I was in my teens. I was always doing too many drugs back then. I'm like, I got plenty of fucking liver to fuck with. So
I got at least 10 more years of this shit.
My other organs are screwed, but my liver's fine, Mom.
yeah.
Well, what was the first, aside from the bile, what was the first sign of real trouble?
The withdrawal effects in the morning I would feel. That was like I'd wake up out of breath, shaking hands, sweating profusely, and I knew the only thing that would make that go away was a drink in the morning.
DTs.
Yeah.
And then you're at this point you're just drinking to stay even.
Yeah. I'm drinking to stay even and find a comfortable place where I'm conscious and not blacked out.
And how long did you find that eventually?
No. I'd lose it every fucking night. No, I never found it.
There's got to be a look in the mirror. There's got to be a moment when you look in the mirror and go, "What the hell? What is going on?"
Not me. I'd look in the mirror and be like, "Fuck it, let's go more.
Let's go harder.
Let's go harder."
No come to Jesus moment.
Nope.
Now you start getting into you're starting to border on 30. You're moving up. There's some physical things that happen to you. What's the first sign of something starting to shut down in your body?
At 26, I had a bit of a saving grace. That was when my first son was born. And I met the mother of my kids, and she drank as well. And we drank a lot together. The relationship worked because of the drinking. A lot of other women would come into my life, hang around for a little bit, and be like, "What the fuck is going on here? I need to run." And this person didn't. So I was like, wow, someone who's not running away from seeing me drink vodka at 6 a.m.
They must love the real me.
It was like, hey, you accept me for who I am. So this is the way that I am. And, we kind of built this, whatever you want to call it, relationship, drinking together, that resulted in her getting pregnant with my first son.
Alcohol's that cause.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
You didn't name your kid Budweiser, did you?
No,
Tequila.
should have been
Tequila.
Pop-Off vodka. That's a fucking.
Give me a little pop off.
So you go on and you're still with this girl for a while, and now you start having some health issues, some real serious health issues. What was the first signs?
Believe it or not, I had no health issues until 35.
So you're hitting it hard for
35.
From the time you're 13, for 20 years, 22 years, you're hitting it hard. Drugs, alcohol, everything you can ingest. You're a father now.
Mm-hmm.
And if kids don't straighten you out, there's a big problem.
There was a small little window when my son was going to be born that I was sober, that I gave up alcohol. I went to like a retreat, and I stopped drinking for a year. And after that year, I started working, got my life together, started going in construction, non-union. And at that point, drugs fell out of the picture because my career depended on being clean. And alcohol really started to to play a major role, because I was sober and I'm like, okay, well, I got my alcohol I can go back to. And I didn't look at it. I was like, I got my life together now. I have a structure here. I got a job. I have a son. It's time to barbecue, beer. Let's go. And that's where I started to go in that direction. And it was pretty fast that I was back into binging. You know, I'd go work, come home.
You turn it into your father.
Yeah, exactly. Without the bars, because it really was. I wasn't like a bar guy. I wouldn't go to work and go to the bar. I'd come home and have my drink there. I wanted to be around my kids because my dad wasn't around. The one thing I was like, you know what? I'm gonna fucking be present. I'm gonna be seen every day. I'm gonna be home with a drink.
So in a lot of ways, you fell into the generational curse, but you also broke the generational curse.
Yeah, like won and lost one at the same time.
Isn't construction like a breeding ground for alcohol, though?
It is. It is. I used to work with a lot of Spanish guys, and man, they could hit it hard. Holy cow, could they hit it hard? You know, you're talking Honduras, Guatemalan, Mexican, and so there's two ways those guys go. It's they hit it hard and do about every bad thing that you possibly can think of, or they find Jesus, and then once they find Jesus, they're good. Yeah. They're good, but they got to go through one to get to the other.
That's really Jesus, isn't it?
Yeah,
those guys?
find Jesus. Find Jesus. So
I hate myself sometimes.
So at 35, what happens?
35, the relationship with the mother of my kids completely started to fall apart, and there was infidelity there, and the only thing kind of holding me up in some functioning alcoholic kind of nature was my family. You know, I had this family that I still had to somewhat keep myself together for. And when the cheating happened, I was like, fuck, now I don't have shit. Now this is all fucked.
Cheating on her end or your end?
Her end.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, I can't go back from this. I was just fucked up from it. So when that happened, I just really went down a spiral, like really, 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 really bad. I almost felt like I lost everything. And I thought, on top of losing my family, I'm like, well, now, even though we weren't married, at that time, she was like, yeah, we've been together more than 10 years. And even though we were not married, we technically are. And all this shit's mine, the fucking house, all of this shit. So you better fucking get ready. Get the fuck out of here. I'm taking everything. And, you know, I was scared shitless. I thought she was going to take everything. My fucking soul, my life, my house, my kids, everything.
Kids.
Everything.
Kids, yeah. I mean, New Jersey is a common law state, so it's possible.
Yeah.
It's although there's some gray area in there.
What's it, 7 or 9 years?
10 years, I thought it was. But I don't know.
Well, it turned out it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not. Pennsylvania is a common law state, and she fucked up on her Google research, so it's not.
Okay, good.
Good for you.
I didn't know at the time, but I was shitting myself, you know, like I just felt like I lost everything. I felt like everything that this little bit of glue I had holding shit together just fell apart.
And so you're hitting it hard, and you're starting to have some problems with your liver.
Yeah. I was drinking a lot, about liter and a half of vodka every day. Still functioning. I was going to work, and at work things got to a point one day where I was nodding out in the machine, and I called my super over. I'm like, I can't be here anymore. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking end up killing somebody here. I gotta go home. I need a break. And my super knew my situation going on with my separation and everything else, and I was like, I need time. Let me go home, get myself together, and I'll be back. And I had weaned myself off alcohol many times before, but this time I couldn't do it. I took off, and I went home to go deeper and deeper into it, drink more.
So you left the job because you wanted to quit drinking, but you went home and went the other way and drank even more.
Even more so.
So then you fall into some serious medical issues.
Yeah, the biggest first sign I had where I broke out with these like welts all over my body, like hives. Felt like an allergic reaction almost, but I had welts on my head, on my whole entire body. Some of them, this big. They were huge. And I knew in the back of my head, I knew it was from the alcohol. I mean, there was no way But then, of course, I get on my phone, I start Googling shit.
Worst thing ever to do.
And I'm like, oh, well, man, this might just be a reaction to something. Let me take a Benadryl and have a shot of vodka. And then the welts went away. And I was like, okay, I'm good. And kept drinking every day. And then I'd say a couple of weeks later, I couldn't pee anymore. I wasn't drinking water. It wasn't like I was hydrating myself here. Like, let me have shots of vodka and make sure I get hydrated at the same time. I wasn't going to the bathroom. I wasn't eating. And my stomach was swelling incredibly fast.
Oh, you're getting like the beer,
Distended.
the beer gut.
It was called ascites or ascites. It's basically you start to build up fluid, bile within your stomach cavity. Your liver's not processing things, and these fluids start to build up in your stomach. All the bile's got to go somewhere, and it wasn't coming out. I wasn't peeing. I wasn't shitting, and I just started to swell and swell and swell more. Till one day I woke up and I went to look in the mirror and my eyes were highlighter yellow.
Yeah.
And it was one night to the next.
Well, you
Jaundice.
there's a picture on your Instagram of that, and it's scary. I mean, it's yellow as that spam doll right there.
Yeah. Yellow is Big Bird.
Yeah.
That's what the mother of my kids called me when she saw my eyes. She was like, damn, Big Bird, you really fucked up, huh?
Wow. So you got to be scared shitless to go to a doctor.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I was absolutely. When I saw my eyes, I fell to the ground. I was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" Like I almost collapsed in fear. I couldn't breathe right. I started hyperventilating. I started to play with the fucking lights. Maybe it's the fucking lights in this goddamn room. Changed the light bulb like 4 times, and I was not gonna go to a doctor. I went on Amazon and I ordered some liver support pills, and ordered some milk thistle and a little remedy of shit I could get together. Started drinking some water, and I'm like, I'm gonna start weaning off. Time to wean off. Maybe my eyes are yellow because I'm dehydrated, is what I thought. Even though I knew, I fucking knew.
What took you? What point made you go to the doctor?
I didn't. My son found me barely breathing in our guest room. My mom had noticed that I hadn't been on Facebook. She saw that I hadn't logged on. I wasn't active. And she called my son to check on me, like, where's your father? My mom knew kind of what was going on, but she didn't know how bad it was. And when my son went to go find me, I was in the room barely breathing, unconscious. And he tried to give me the phone. I didn't have really enough energy to talk. And my mom said, I'm calling the fucking police right now. And my mom called an ambulance to come get me. And when they got there, I started to become a little more coherent. As a matter of fact, I got mad because they were trying to take me. I told them to get the fuck away from me. They were like, listen, you're dying. They're like, do you know who the president is? I named the wrong president. They're like, you have to come with us. And I'm like, you're not fucking taking me anywhere. I'm fine. Get the fuck out of my house. And one guy like pulled me to the side. He's like, I promise you, you're dying. If you stay, you're going to die. And he convinced me to go with them. And I started vomiting blood everywhere. It was like black coffee grounds.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that
got
means,
the coffee
oh
grounds.
God.
Yeah, it was
Got an
like
upper GI bleed.
Yeah.
yeah, it was black coffee grounds everywhere, and they rushed me to the hospital and put me in induced coma right away, so I didn't go into cardiac arrest.
How long were you in the induced coma?
Almost 3 weeks.
Don't remember a thing.
I went for a ride while I was asleep. Yeah,
What do you remember?
a lot. Very like out of body shit, you know. I remember feeling like I kept looking for. It felt like I was walking around the hospital. It felt like I was looking for a drink, and anything I would drink or take down wouldn't satiate any kind of yearning that I had. I felt like trapped in this kind of purgatory that I couldn't get out of.
It's exactly where you were.
And that's
Yeah,
exactly
you're
where
in
I was.
purgatory.
You're in purgatory. You're in a holding cell.
Yeah, that's what it felt like, and it felt like every door I opened, I was back into the same place again, trying to have a drink that did nothing for me.
So after 3 weeks, they pull you out of the coma.
Mm-hmm.
What's your first thought?
I'm hungry and thirsty. I was so fucking thirsty, man, because they had this tube down my throat. My tongue felt like a lizard's skin. I was so dehydrated, and after getting some ice cubes they gave me because I couldn't just drink something right away, Then I saw the looks on the people in my family all looking at me, and I couldn't get up. I couldn't walk. It was really hard to even lift my hands. All my limbs wouldn't move. Nothing was really moving. And I was like, wow, I fucked up.